A Monday morning begins with a packed calendar and a sinking feeling that the role no longer fits. By lunchtime, familiar tasks feel heavy, and even small requests trigger worry about being stuck for years. Work changes faster than most job titles, so the old ladder logic no longer offers reliable direction. When people treat that turbulence as personal failure, they freeze, overthink, and postpone any meaningful experiment. Staying in place without growth can drain health and confidence as boredom and anxiety build inside routine. Meanwhile, leaving abruptly can threaten basic needs, so a better path reduces risk while restoring momentum. An employee with a secure role scrolls through job boards at night, yet cannot name what success should look like. A freelancer takes on every request, then feels exhausted and confused because the work does not align with values. You will learn a 4-stage method, a Riskometer, and practical pilots that reveal your next move. This video is inspired by Pivot by Jenny Blake, and subscribe for weekly pivot method breakdowns that turn uncertainty into clear steps. A career pivot involves focusing on what works and moving purposefully into a related direction. The process is about building on existing strengths and experience, rather than starting from scratch in panic. This approach reduces risk by utilizing assets earned through previous work and learning. It also boosts confidence by showing progress from real data, not from imagining worst-case scenarios. A senior creative strategist felt uninspired, but stayed with her firm, volunteering for social media work others avoided. This choice built expertise and reputation, demonstrating how a related shift can create a new role without abandoning stability. Career change is now common, so treating pivoting as Plan A builds an edge rather than a crisis story. The goal is staying responsive, as technology, organizations, and roles constantly change and get automated or reshaped. List the pivots already made across projects, teams, or industries, then note the strengths that carried through. Choose one next move that extends those strengths and reduces uncertainty by staying close to what you can test. The grounding stage, known as the plant, establishes values, strengths, and interests as a foundation for the next phase. It replaces vague searching with a clear 1-year vision and a definition of success. Without this foundation, people may endlessly read and talk, yet gain no traction, like wheels spinning in mud. A planted base also prevents overreaching, as looking too far ahead can keep effort high, but progress low. A student who mapped 4 years of courses in a spreadsheet and followed it strictly missed unexpected opportunities. This shows why rigid plans can suffocate exploration, and why planting principles is more important than predicting every detail. Starting from what is working increases engagement, as using strengths daily is tied to a better quality of life. This supports high net growth, where learning, contribution, and momentum guide choices beyond simple status markers. Write 3 guiding principles, notice when time flies at work, and summarize the strengths that appear across peak moments. Then build runway by calculating monthly needs, backup assets, and a bridge income plan to keep experiments sustainable. The Riskometer is a tool that labels 4 zones of change: stagnation, comfort, stretch, and panic. It works by observing body signals and attention patterns, then selecting moves that feel challenging but not debilitating. When a pivot remains in stagnation, restlessness grows, and health symptoms may appear from boredom and anxiety. When a pivot enters panic, thinking narrows, and people may do nothing or make reckless leaps. A professional feels called toward a new mission, but launching tomorrow triggers intense fear and sleepless rumination. The better move is to make smaller turns that gather feedback, as sharp pivots with many unknowns are gambles. As comfort declines, the scale tips toward risk, and planting, scanning, and piloting prepare the final launch. This keeps you in the stretch zone, where anticipation and adventure rise, while the moves remain small enough to adjust quickly. Rate a possible move from comfort to panic, then redesign it until the first step is doable this week. If you want a clear way to choose stretch zone pivots without freezing, subscribe for more risk tools and decision maps. In Scan, opportunities come faster when you are discoverable, meaning others can find and connect to your work. The process involves sharing ideas on a platform and defining a project-based purpose that guides which options to pursue. A project-based purpose explains why you are doing the next season of work without forcing a single lifelong mission. With that why, conversations become focused, and you can identify skills, contacts, and roles that align with your vision. a preschool teacher serving children with disabilities, aimed to bring more play into daily learning. She tested this by starting mornings with an obstacle course, showing how small experiments produce data and confidence. Another tactic is embracing work others reject, because unpopular tasks can become a niche that builds your reputation. When long-term direction feels blurry, a leapfrog approach looks 2 moves ahead and works backward to the next step. Write a brief statement of what you're exploring, then share it with 3 trusted contacts and ask for introductions. Publish 1 small idea each week and use replies as signals to deepen skills or design pilots. A pilot is a small, low-risk experiment that tests a new direction using real-world feedback. Piloting works when you release a scrappy version, gather responses, revise, and repeat until the signal is clear. Waiting for perfection delays learning. By the time a polished plan appears, user needs may have shifted. Pilots also create redundancy, ensuring that income and options do not depend on a single bet during transition. A Yale University student started with an internship pilot, then took clients one at a time, raising rates gradually. That layered approach built job offers and client demand, proving how overlap can place post-graduation choices in your hands. When trade-offs appear, a pivot hexagon clarifies which values you prioritize across security, money, time, structure, and adventure. With those criteria, decisions become data, as each choice shifts your position and creates information for the next move. Set 1 pilot this month with clear parameters, then schedule a pause review date to decide the next increment. Do not wait for perfect conditions, because motion reveals reality, and tough conversations become easier when steps are separated. The central lesson is that change is constant, so the skill is navigating it with method and self-respect. A pivot is not random reinvention. It is a sequence of related moves that grows impact over time. Plant provides grounding through values, strengths, and a 1-year target, which stops endless searching outside yourself. Scan increases visibility and options, while Pilot uses scrappy tests and redundancy before launch requires commitment. This cycle builds high net growth, where learning and contribution increase momentum, even when outcomes shift unexpectedly. Over time, operating modes move from reactive to proactive and innovative, and work feels aligned with strengths again. Start today by naming your current zone on the Riskometer and designing 1 stretch step that avoids panic. Then create a simple runway plan, pick a pilot, and tell your story clearly so opportunity can find you. When you repeat the cycle, each move becomes easier because you trust the process more than the fear. If you want more structured guidance for plant and scan, pilot, and launch cycles, subscribe for future videos that turn career uncertainty into action.